Hey Ishmael, how you doing?
I'm cool, man.
How you doing today?
I am alive.
You ready to learn?
I'm very ready to learn.
Good. I'm glad.
Cool.
So, what do you need help with today?
Well, I need to understand Neapolitan sixth chords
And what else?
and secondary leading tones.
Okay, sure. Well, those are nifty subjects indeed. So, yeah, man. So perhaps let's start. Let's just start with the key. Let's use the key of D.
Sure.
So you got staff paper?
Yeah.
You got staff paper right here. All right. So write your clef. Okay. And then indicate the key you're in. Why don't you put the key signature? How many sharps?
All right. Wait.
Oops. Yeah.
Yeah. Screw that up.
Remember, fat cats go downtown and eat
Fat
bagels.
Cats go down.
So F first, and then C. Oh yeah.
Cool.
See, that's a good way to remember the order of the sharps.
Mm-hmm.
Fat cats go downtown. Wait, there's no T. Fat cats go downtown and eat bagels.
Right.
Always remember. Cool. All right, so let's write these chords in block form. So why don't we tackle secondary leading tones first?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're familiar with secondary dominants, right?
Yeah.
You did learn about those.
A little bit.
So as if, like, let's say in the key of D,
Mm-hmm.
we have a chord that's an E7. That chord doesn't exist in the key of D, but it's a 5 dominant chord.
Mm-hmm.
But E E7 is acting as a dominant of what? E is always the fifth of what?
E is always the fifth of A.
A, of course. So thus, if there was an E7 in D major, it would be going to the 5 chord of D. So it would be a 5 of 5.
Right.
It would go to A. You understand that?
Yeah.
So thus, the same thing can be said about secondary leading tones. So let's say you have a diminished 7 chord in the key of D that does not exist in the key of D. Then you have to think, oh, it's the 7 of what? Just the same way you use secondary dominants. So let's do an example. Let's use a D sharp diminished 7 chord.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you write that out in block form?
All right.
Just like that. So what are the notes of a D sharp diminished 7?
It's D sharp.
Yeah.
F.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A. It's not A. It's A.
You're right.
It is A.
Yeah, you're right.
I knew that.
But think about F though.
Okay. So it's D sharp F.
Remember, it has to be a flat third.
Oh yeah. Wait. So it's F sharp.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thinking the key of D still.
You got it, man.
D sharp, F sharp, A, and C.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. So add the sharps in. Okay. Give yourself a nice bar line there. Now, if that is a secondary dominant chord, right? Or I mean, rather, a secondary leading tone, where is it going? It would be the 7 diminished of what in the key of D?
It'd be the 7 diminished of.
So all you have to think is D sharp is the T, do going where?
Oh, E.
E. So, but and then in this case, the key of D, E what?
E minor.
E minor. Excellent.
Right.
You got it.
So
You probably want to write out your E minor chord.
okay.
Okay. Very good.
E minor 7.
Yeah, you don't have to. You could if you'd like. Why not?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So, how would we label these with Roman numerals then?
This would be
I'm assuming it's the first chapter.
The sharp would be the
So it's a secondary leading tone. So you write it as a diminished 7.
yeah.
It's like the whole like chapter.
So
First chapter supposed to be
diminished 7
of.
I think it was just the.
Remember, it's a 7. It's a diminished 7 chord. So add the 7 in
Right,
your
right.
Roman numerals there. There you go. Of what? E is what Roman numeral in the key of D?
It's 2.
2.
I mean, that's
So diminished 7 of 2.
Very good. So does that make sense how secondary leading tones work? It's the same concept as secondary dominance.
Yeah, yeah.
Does that make sense? Good. So write your Roman numeral there. Now you also had a question about Neapolitan 6 chords existing.
Yeah.
There where they go. Well, as you know, do you understand what a Neapolitan chord is?
It is a half step above the tonic, and it's major.
Well, it's not a half step above the tonic. It's a whole step.
A whole step above the tonic. Oh.
Yeah. It's actually it's built on the second note of the scale. So if in the key of D, the Neapolitan chord would begin on E, and it is major, like you said, which doesn't exist in the key of D. There's no E major chord.
Right.
So if you ever are in the key of D and you see chord progression within D and there's an E major, it's a Neapolitan chord. But you really don't see that too often. In this case, we're thinking about Neapolitan 6 chords in the case of being secondary chords. So if we were in the key of D, let me think, for instance. So let's do a Neapolitan of 5, because one thing you should realize, though, when you're writing out these progressions, Neapolitan chords, 6 chords, usually always resolve to 5. Usually, it's very common.
Right.
Very common for that to happen. So, if we wanted to write a Neapolitan 6, and what does that mean? Since there's a 6 in the figured bass.
Neapolitan 6.
Yeah. Do you know what that means by Neapolitan 6?
Refresh my memory.
Sure. Well, you understand the figured bass of first inversion, second inversion,
Yeah.
right? How first inversion has the Roman numeral figure of a 6, with the Roman numeral as a 6, and then second version has 6/4 figured bass symbol. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's why it's Neapolitan 6. So if you see Neapolitan 6, what inversion is it in?
It's first inversion.
First inversion.
Oh,
You got
okay.
it. Does that make sense?
Cool. Yeah.
You got it. So let's do that. Let's do a Neapolitan 6 of 5 in the key of D.
Okay. So first I would write out.
So let's add another bar line. Separate it. There you go.
E dominant, right?
Well, no, it's not a 5 of 5. It's a
Oh.
Neapolitan chord. So if it's a Neapolitan of 5, you have to think. So what's 5 in the key of D?
It's E dominant.
No,
It's A dominant.
A. You got it.
Yeah.
So then, what's the Neapolitan chord in A?
F sharp.
No, Neapolitan chord. It's built on the second scale degree.
Oh, the second. Damn it.
Remember that. It's
Yeah.
all right.
B major.
B major.
Yeah.
But since the Neapolitan 6, that means what?
Means that that F is in the bass of the B major.
Not F.
No.
Think what's 6 mean again?
Yeah, D is in the bass.
D is in the
D
bass.
is in the bass.
But not D. D what?
D sharp.
Very good. You got it. Very good.
Okay. So
Put D sharp. And what else?
at B and F.
Well, F what?
No, F sharp.
F sharp. Very good. So B. F sharp. Very great.
Put some space.
All right, great. So how do we label that now? So you put the NP, just like that, and then 6 because it's in
6.
It's in what inversion?
It's in first inversion.
First inversion. That's why there's 6. Put it. Then we know what to do next. Just as you were doing the secondary leading tone symbols.
Right.
5. So we want to try 5. Very good. Now, what chord are we going to go to?
The 5.
The 5. In D. So, what chord is that?
That's A.
A. A major.
That is A. C sharp.
C sharp.
E.
Okay.
All right.
Very good. All right. So, put your Roman numeral in there. Now, does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right, but let's review the concepts. So, Neapolitan chords.
Neapolitan
Chords
chords
are what?
built on the second scale degree.
Second scale degree, and they're always what?
Major.
Always major. Now, when they show up, usually in classical music, they're in what inversion?
First inversion.
First inversion. So they're usually use what figured bass symbol?
6.
So it's be labeled as NP6, right?
NP6.
P6. And they have a strong draw to the what?
The 5 chord.
To the 5 chord. Very good. Now, secondary leading tones. Let's review that.
All right.
So they always, secondary leading tones act as what function? They want to resolve to what?
They want to resolve to the 1.
Not necessarily the 1, but whatever. So in this case, in D, we had D sharp diminished 7. That wanted to resolve to what?
Oh, it resolved to the 2.
2.
Yeah.
So when you look at those, you always want to look at what's the root note of this diminished chord, right? In this case, it was D sharp. All right, so D sharp is the leading tone of what? E. Is E is in the key of D, right? But it's minor. So it'd be a 7 diminished 7 of minor 2, just like you did.
Right.
Now, did that clear those concepts up with you?
Yeah.
Think you'll get a good grade on the test?
I hope I'll get a good grade, man. You've set me straight.
All right, man.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right.